Well, we were in Alpine Shores,
Uh-huh.
and they told us they were going to shut the place down.
Okay.
They tried to sell it to us.
Yeah, they tried to sell it to us, and it wasn't large enough for us. I think we had 12 or 13 different properties to look at. And we came over here and looked at this, and this was all flooded. Everything was marsh and flood. But since we had some people who knew what we were doing, they said it won't be hard to drain this place. And it turns out it had been drained previous to this. This place had been farmland, and there was a drainage system already in. It was all clogged up.
We had just bought this piece of property. It's 25 acres. It was a swamp.
It wasn't developed.
And there were no buildings.
No amenities, no...
So, and I didn't do much. I was busy planning for OTR, but there was a whole crew, built the pavilion, put in the roads, and they were mushy in the beginning. We had some showers. They're not the same showers we have now, but we had to drill wells for the first year.
Oh, we had some good days. The main road coming in was nothing but a sea of mud ruts. The reason that the concrete in the pavilion is not a very nice smooth pad is because when we started pouring concrete, the first day we poured, it was probably 95 degrees. The concrete was blowing up on us. So basically all that happened is it got screed and it got bull floated, and probably about 20 minutes later you could walk on it. And that's why the floor is rough the way it is, which really turned out to be a good thing, because if it was a smooth floor, when things got spilt on it, there'd be a lot of people slipping and falling. They don't slip and fall on that. But what really amazed me was the '85 flood, and our floor stayed.
The first flood that we experienced, we had a lot of lumber on the floor of the pavilion that went someplace down the river.
Wow.
We had 5,000 feet of 5,000 board feet of lumber that's sitting there that we ended up with a couple hundred board feet left. One of the first things we did is build that bridge. We built that the first year. That was a first year thing. Yeah. See, over this part was dry. This was a good area here. And we had to put the bridge in so people could get across to this area. Now that was the first. This is actually the second bridge, I would believe, right now. Isn't it?
It's the original bridge. We have to resurface it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Now, the one thing that I guess is significant with my first chair is the Doodah Parade. I got a phone call one evening, and God, I can't remember who it was that called me, and said...
Don't you think it was Bob Addis?
Yeah, it was Bob Addis.
It's always been Bob Addis. Always been Bob Addis.
Yeah, it was Bob Addis, now that you mention it. And I had no idea what a Doodah Parade was. And I asked, well, how much of a budget do you need for this? And they says, oh, it's not going to cost anything. I said, well, if it's not going to cost anything, of course you can do it. And we've had the Doodah Parade every year since then.
What year was that?
That was 1987 was the first Doodah Parade.
It was one of those things that kept working. I would be down here for a dozen weekends a year prepping the place, and just kept adding and doing stuff as we got money. I added facilities and set things up, and set up the first vendors row and the power for that.
Roswell Jones, he was really instrumental in getting the thing off the ground, because every time we needed something and we didn't have the money, Jonesy'd reach in his pocket and he'd pull out the money and he'd say, oh, I'll get it later on, I'll get it later on. There was probably between 30 to 35 people that were really religious coming down every time that something needed done. Some of us come down as much as a week and a half before old-timers to start getting it going. The last couple of years we've been having some really, really big work weekends. I couldn't even venture to guess what it would be in man-hours.